All right, and the next fight up is the first fight on the main card in the UFC's lightweight division between Joe Solecki, who comes into the fight with a record of 11 victories and 3 defeats, and Alex Lecco de Silva, who comes into the fight with a record of 21 victories and 3 defeats. Now, Solecki versus de Silva is a very close matchup, but also very one-sided when it comes to different aspects of mixed martial arts. And I'll break that down for you very quickly. I think that looking at the fight from a stylistic standpoint, Joe Solecki is the overall better grappler, 100%. He's the better wrestler, the better grappler. He's better at finding position over submission and working to take your back. He's good at control from the half guard, from the back control, from the full mount. He's very good at working the Dagestani handcuff, the wrist rides, tying you up, like we talked about in the last fight with Argueta and Jackson. Solecki is the much superior grappler, in my opinion. But when you look at Alex de Silva, he's only had one, I think he's had 2 fights in the UFC, but his last fight in the UFC was against Brad Quake Riddell, who I believe is currently ranked in the top 10 of the UFC's lightweight division. Alex de Silva Coelho, his nickname is Lecco. So Alex Lecco de Silva, 21-3 as a professional mixed martial artist. His last fight, UFC 253 against Brad Riddell, he lost via unanimous decision. Riddell really took over in the second and third round, but in the first round, Alex de Silva hurt Riddell. He hurt him on the feet. He stunned him, I believe, with a left hook or a right hand, and he almost caught him in a guillotine choke. Even Riddell himself said he almost got caught in a submission, and he felt like him scrambling out of it when De Silva had that front headlock was actually putting him in deeper into the submission and catching him off guard. And he could have got that submission a couple times, working from that front headlock, working that guillotine choke. That is something that I think that Solecki is going to have to look out for, but I also don't think it's smart for De Silva to play from that front headlock position, work the jiu-jitsu, work the submission game. Because if you work that and Solecki gets out, then Solecki's going to be in the top position. He's going to be able to work from the half guard. He's going to be able to, knee slice his way to the full mount, take your back, get his hooks in, work with the wrist control your wrists, and eventually look to lock up your neck in a submission. And if he doesn't get the submission, I think he can control Alex de Silva on the ground. Now, on the feet, I think that Alex de Silva is the much superior, much sharper, and much cleaner striker, without a doubt. I think De Silva on the feet is a big problem for Solecki. Solecki's decent on the feet. He uses a lot of fakes and feints, a lot of lateral movement, a lot of pivots. He does move a lot and feint with his hands. But if you feint wrong against a guy in De Silva who's a technical, clean striker, you can be knocked out. The right hand from Alex de Silva, the left hook is brutal. He throws it with a lot of speed and a lot of power. Sometimes he does loop his shots, but compared to a guy like Joe Solecki, he's head and shoulders above him on the feet. But the takedown attempts from a Joe Solecki, catching the kick, working to a double leg, catching the kick, working for a single leg, using the single leg to circle to the opponent's back, work from the body lock position up against the cage, work the trips inside and outside, play with the feet, and look to take the back of Alex de Silva. I think that is going to make Alex be a little bit hesitant when it comes to throwing those front kicks up the middle, throwing those body kicks, throwing those low kicks. But if he's not hesitant and he comes out the gate fast, sharp, and strong, I think Solecki can be in a lot of trouble early in that first round. The front kick to the body from Alex de Silva is fantastic. You saw it a lot against Brad Riddell. He's got a beautiful left hook. Riddell's got one of the best left hooks in the game, and Alex de Silva was able to catch him with his own left hook a lot. The cross into the left hook, the 1, 2, 3, low kick, 2, come back with a left hook, cross into the left hook. He's got a beautiful, beautiful left hook and some very good shots on the feet. And he also moves very well. He uses a lot of fakes and feints, little quarter turns, little pivots, kind of stepping off on an angle, pivoting out, stepping to his left, stepping to his right. Very good lateral movement, very in and out heavy style. And he uses a lot of those fakes and feints. But the problem for me is I think Alex de Silva, if he gets ahead early and can maintain that distance and maintain that range, I think he can pick apart Joe Solecki on the feet and probably get a finish. But the problem is he's so loopy with some of his punches. And I don't mean he's not technical. I don't want to say loopy, so let me correct myself. I feel like he throws a lot of power into all of his shots. And by doing that, I feel like he's going to lean forward and open up his hips for the takedown attempts of Joe Solecki. And I think Joe Solecki is not going to be scared to close that distance and shoot those takedowns. I think he's going to look to shoot off a lot of the kick attempts of an Alex de Silva. Maybe when he throws that front kick, Solecki tries to parry it, then catch it, run the pipe, work the head on the outside, transition to the double leg, get the takedown, and then work from that triangle leg mount, work from the wrist ride, work from positions up against the cage. He's very solid. Solecki is a decorated grappler, very good at maintaining top position, very good at focusing on position over submission. And that's what some of the best grapplers in the sport do. They focus on the position before they attack for the submission. And I think the overall control on the ground, the control in the grappling aspect, can be an area where Solecki takes over against De Silva. I think that Solecki does get tired in that third round, but he pushes such a heavy grappling pace. De Silva got tired in the third round against Brad Riddell and just really didn't have any pop on his shots in that fight. The longer the fight went, he got tired. He gets tired in the grappling exchanges. There was a lot of grappling, pummeling, clinch control, over-under position, turning against the cage, turning back for position. There was a lot of that in the fight against Riddell. And Riddell is a solid grappler, a much better grappler and wrestling offensive fighter than people give him credit for, but he's not a grappler at the level of a Joe Solecki. And I think the first round is going to be tough. It's going to be scary for Solecki because I do think that the front kicks, the power in the shots, the crispness of De Silva's shots on the feet can be big problems with the speed and power that he possesses. I think it can be big problems for Solecki. But I think towards the end of that first round, anything after the first, if Solecki can get those takedowns, catch the kicks of De Silva, take him down, work from the half guard, work from the back control, and tie him up, I think that he can control the fight and eventually lock up a submission the longer it goes. Overall, when it comes to my pick for the fights, before we get there, let's talk about the odds, because I'd like to mention the odds before I make my pick. The overall odds for Solecki and De Silva, they have Solecki at a minus 170 favorite to a plus 145 for Alex De Silva. I don't mind those odds. I think Solecki should probably be a little bit less of a favorite. I think maybe like a minus 150 to a plus 120 maybe for Alex De Silva, or plus 115. It's close. It is a close fight, so I'm not mad. I'm glad they don't have Solecki at like a minus 200 or 250. But I think it could be a little bit closer. It's not a pick 'em, but I do think it's a very close fight. It depends who can get their game plan off first. But I am going to side with the grappling, the top pressure, and the jiu-jitsu awareness of Joe Solecki to overall control Alex De Silva the longer the fight goes. I think he's going to be able to control him in the second, control him in the third, work that back control, work the top position, soften him up with the ground and pound, and really just suck the life out of Alex De Silva the longer the fight goes. Close first round, dangerous first round for Solecki. I wouldn't be surprised if De Silva shuts his lights out. But I think he's aware on the feet. He uses decent lateral movement and good fakes and feints before he steps in. Decent striking, but I don't think Solecki's going to entertain that striking. I think he's going to feint on the feet, feint the left hook, shoot that head on the inside, single transition head on the outside, and then work those takedown attempts and the top control. Position over submission is what's going to carry Solecki to a victory, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Joe Solecki to defeat Alex Lecco De Silva via a 29-28 unanimous decision victory. I think the control, the top control, and position over submission is going to stifle the rangy Muay Thai heavy kickboxing attack of Alex De Silva. So Joe Solecki to defeat Alex Lecco De Silva via 29-28 unanimous decision.